Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of market valuation with a focus on the key drivers that shape value in the market. Our presentation, titled Market Determinants of Value, will explore a range of factors, from supply and demand dynamics to the impact of technology and branding. Together, we'll uncover how these elements influence market value and guide strategic decision making. I'm excited to take you through this insightful journey. Let's get started. Understanding market value is crucial because it guides strategic decisions that can make or break a business. Essentially, it tells us what things are worth in the marketplace. Now, market value doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's driven by several key factors. These include supply and demand, how consumers behave, the level of competition, regulations in place, advancements in technology, overall economic conditions, the strength of a brand, distribution channels, growth potential, and how efficiently costs are managed. Throughout this presentation, we will take a closer look at each of these elements, using real-world examples and data to give a clear picture how they interact to influence market valuation. To grasp market value, the first step is to understand that it's fundamentally driven by the interaction between supply and demand. This relationship shapes how prices move in any market. Next, consider scarcity. When supply is limited but demand stays strong or even grows, prices usually go up. A recent example is the semiconductor chip shortage, which caused prices to jump by 20 to 30%. This clearly shows how scarcity can push market values higher. On the flip side, if there's an oversupply, prices tend to fall because there's more product available than buyers want. By recognizing these dynamics, we can better anticipate how prices and values might change over time. Consumer preferences play a crucial role in shaping market value. When consumer tastes and trends shift, they can have a significant impact on how products are valued. For example, products that reflect the priorities of today's consumers, like sustainability and eco-friendliness, tend to be more highly valued. In fact, we've seen that green brands, which cater to the growing demand for environmentally friendly options, have experienced a 15% increase in market value. This shows how closely market success is tied to understanding and responding to what consumers care about most. When we look at the competitive landscape, one of the key factors is the impact of competitor strength. The number of competitors and how strong they are in the market directly influence pricing power and the overall value a company can command. In markets where competition is limited or where monopoly exists, companies have greater pricing power because customers have fewer, if any, alternatives to choose from. For example, in the pharmaceutical industry, a monopoly situation has been shown to lead to prices about 50% higher than those in more competitive markets. This clearly demonstrates how limited competition can inflate prices. However, this increased value control often comes with downside, such as attracting attention from regulators who may be concerned about market fairness and consumer impact. So, while restricted competition can boost value, it also brings potential challenges that companies need to be aware of. Government policies play a crucial role in shaping market value. Things like tariffs, restrictions, and regulations can either boost or limit the value within a market. For example, tariffs on imports typically lead to higher prices domestically, which affects everyone involved in the supply chain. A clear instance of this is the steel import tariffs, which caused domestic steel prices to rise by 12%. While these tariffs help protect local industries, they also tend to increase costs and change the overall market landscape. Understanding these effects is essential for navigating the regulatory environment effectively. Innovation is a major driver of market value because it has the power to disrupt existing markets or even create entirely new ones where consumer demand is strong. A great example of this is the smartphone revolution, which essentially built a lucrative market segment from the ground up, changing how we communicate and interact with technology. New technologies don't just create new products, they can also alter cost structures, improve what's offered to customers, and raise consumer expectations. Altogether, these changes contribute to transforming markets and boosting their overall value in significant ways. When we look at the economic conditions, one key point to understand is the vulnerability of the luxury market during recessions. Broader economic trends have a significant impact on consumer purchasing power, which in turn affects how sensitive market values are. During tough economic times, people tend to cut back on discretionary spending, those non essential purchases. This means sectors like luxury goods often see a reduction in value. For instance, historically, the luxury market has experienced as much as a 25% drop during recessions. This clearly shows how closely tied luxury markets are to economic cycles and how vulnerable they can be when the economy takes a downturn. When a brand builds strong loyalty, it gains the ability to charge premium prices. This happens because customers trust a brand and see it as different from competitors. Take Apple, for example. Their loyal customers are willing to pay about 30% more for similar products compared to others. This isn't just about the specs or features. It's about the perceived quality, the reliability, and the emotional connection people have with the brand. All these factors combine to boost the overall value, allowing premium pricing to be sustained over time. When we talk about distribution channels, accessibility and convenience play a huge role in shaping how consumers perceive value. Simply put, the easier it is for customers to access and buy a product, the more valuable that product becomes in their eyes. A great example of this is the rise of e-commerce. Online shopping has grown rapidly and has increased the market value of online retailers by about 20%. This growth highlights just how much improved accessibility can drive value. By enhancing distribution channels, companies can reach more customers, make the buying process smoother, and ultimately boost customer satisfaction. All of these factors work together to increase both the product's value and its standing in the market. When we look at market growth potential, one key point is that markets expected to grow strongly in the future often have higher current valuations. Investors are willing to pay a premium today because they anticipate greater returns down the line. Emerging markets are a prime example of this, especially those with annual growth rates of 8% or more, which naturally draw more investment interest. This trend highlights why it's so important to look beyond just current conditions and really focus on growth trajectories when we're assessing a market's value. Understanding where a market is headed helps us make smarter, forward-looking investment decisions. When we talk about cost structures, the first thing to understand is that managing costs efficiently directly boosts profitability, which in turn raises the overall market value of a company. A great example of this is automation, which has slashed manufacturing costs by 18%. This reduction not only improves the net value for producers, but also strengthens their position in the market. Companies that focus on optimizing their cost base gain a significant competitive advantage, enabling them to maintain higher profit margins. These higher margins are crucial because they play a direct role in how the market values a company, reinforcing the importance of cost management in driving long-term success. Understanding the market determinants of value is crucial because it helps businesses and investors make well-informed decisions. By focusing on key strategic drivers like supply and demand, consumer preferences, competition, regulations, and technology, organizations can position themselves more effectively in the market. Additionally, factors such as economic context, branding, distribution channels, growth potential, and cost efficiency play vital roles. By addressing these elements thoughtfully, stakeholders can maximize value capture and support sustainable growth over the long term.